Come see this thing, 1559, Fauci not forgotten, Netanyahu ex NELK, Triads drugging America. This is a series where I summarize rantatonne posts made up of at least 3 things I've read, seen, or heard. First question, was this the USA's legal CCP drugging effort? It's credible that this Russia investigation being started right now is at least in part to distract from the Epstein cover-up thing that's going on, but the Trump administration is not the only one happy for distractions. There's also the investigation into the Biden administration's use of AutoPen. It was quite human of Joe to bail out his son this way and go back on his word, and also understandable that Hunter Biden didn't mention this benefit in his recent interview. In the case of Russia, even if Obama came out and said, I saw what they said, there was no credibility to it, and then I told them to find something else because I thought there was credibility, he can simply say he was doing it in his presidential capacity. When it comes to Biden, though, he doesn't have that presidential capacity then, because the question is, did he exercise his presidential capacity to give certain things the veracity that they have? And some of those things are like the pardons for Anthony Fauci. And despite what Rand Paul is interested in doing here, I think Trump might be happy to let this go, because if you start looking into what was Fauci doing before the pandemic that could have led to what did he do during it, you also start asking what was Trump as president doing during the pandemic. Also, if this really was a lab leak, it doesn't only implicate the CCP, but rather exposes this entire structure going on behind the political narrative that we're allowed to see on the stage. Next question, remember the reaction to Tucker interviewing the Iranian president? I am an infophile, so in general I like taking in information about any given X that I'm interested in, even if I don't know what to do with it at that time. And I think it's also a testament to the American people themselves, rather than their politierati and the illiterati, that foreign leaders feel like it's actually important enough to find ways to talk directly to the people versus just talking to the politicians and things like that. So just how you don't have to believe whatever Pezeshkian told Tucker, you don't have to believe everything Benjamin Netanyahu told the NELK boys. The reaction to this has been promising to me. He just doesn't seem genuine. You can't really just spin the same narratives and control the messaging like you could in the past. Statism is a religion, and Netanyahu is a leading figure of one of the statist religions that currently governs the nation of Israel. So I'll use some critiques that Christopher Hitchens had of religion, and you see Netanyahu here just making assertions without evidence that you can also dismiss without evidence. And I'll adapt something Hitchens used to say at the end of his debates or conversations about religion to what Netanyahu has said and what he's currently doing and has done, is that belief in a religion can enable people to say and do things that a non-believer never could, let alone act like those things are actually good. And that, to me, as an a-religious person, is what makes me have so much issue with the state and statism. Because sure, Muslims, Hindus, Jainists, Buddhists, all these people have certain beliefs that I don't agree with, but right now it's the institution of the state and belief in statism that enables people to have power over others. It's a system that pushed off its failings onto the Jewish people to persecute them in Europe. It's a system that set up the state of Israel in the Middle East. It's the system that some people who happen to be Jews are using to persecute people right now. Last question, is this the USA's illegal CCP drugging effort? So we've discussed about how the states came together and probably created a virus that went out into the world and probably killed millions of people. In this section, Tucker Carlson has someone on who's talking about how Maine has been infested with the Chinese mafia, and it's not just the illegal drugs and fentanyl, which is discussed more, mostly focusing on marijuana, which is legal in Maine, but shows how this is enabled by the local politicians in Maine. Kind of like how when the West was flooding China with opium back in the day, they also had local collaborators.